The banker's hands started shaking the moment he slid my father's old card into the machine. For about 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then his face went white as a sheet. He stood up so fast his chair rolled backward and slammed into the wall. "Mr. Harper, please wait right here," he whispered, staring at his computer screen like he'd just seen a ghost. "I'm Martin Harper, 65 years old, and I had no idea what was coming next. Just 1 hour before this moment, I'd been sitting on a park bench with everything I owned stuffed into an old military duffel bag. My wife of 40 years had just divorced me and taken everything we'd built together. Or so I thought. Let me back up and tell you how I ended up in that banker's office, holding a card I hadn't touched in 30 years. It started 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday morning that seemed like any other. I was in the kitchen making coffee, same routine I'd followed for decades. Pour the water, measure the grounds, wait for the brew cycle. Sarah sat at the table reading the newspaper, same as always. We'd done this dance thousands of times over 40 years of marriage. Same kitchen table I'd built with my own hands back in 1985. Same coffee cups we'd gotten as wedding gifts. But nothing was the same anymore, and I just didn't know it yet. "Martin," she said without looking up from the paper. "We need to talk." Those 4 words hit me like a wrench to the gut. After 40 years of marriage, you learn to recognize the tone. This wasn't about the grocery list, or fixing the back fence, or planning our next visit to see the grandkids. I turned off the coffee maker and sat down across from her. She finally folded the newspaper and looked at me with eyes I didn't recognize, cold, distant, like she was looking at a stranger. "I want a divorce," just like that. No warning, no argument, no explanation. She said it the same way she might order coffee. Black, 2 sugars, divorce. I sat there for a moment, sure I'd misheard. "Sarah? What are you talking about? I've already filed the papers. Jake is helping me with everything." "Jake?" "Jake Thompson, 35 years old. Some middle manager at Harper Steel in Manufacturing, where Sarah worked part-time doing bookkeeping. I'd met him at a few company picnics over the years. Seemed like a decent enough guy, though he always struck me as the type who thought he was smarter than everyone else. Wore expensive suits, drove a fancy car. Had that smooth way of talking that made everything sound like a sales pitch. "Jake's been very supportive during this difficult time," Sarah continued, still not looking directly at me. Supportive, right? That's when it hit me like a sledgehammer. This wasn't sudden at all. This had been going on for months, maybe longer. All those late nights she said she was working on the company books. All those times Jake happened to call during dinner. All those new clothes she'd been buying, saying she wanted to look more professional at work. 40 years, Sarah. We've been together for 40 years. She finally met my eyes, and what I saw there was worse than anger or hatred. It was indifference. That's exactly the problem, Martin. 40 years of the same routine, the same conversations, the same everything. I need something different. Something exciting. Different. Exciting. I'd given this woman the best years of my life. Worked double shifts at the steel mill so she could stay home with the kids when they were little. Never missed a birthday, anniversary, or school play. Built the house we were sitting in with my own hands, every board and nail. Taught myself plumbing and electrical work so we could have the nicest place on our block. And she needed something exciting. "The house is in my name," she said, pulling out a thick folder that looked like it had been prepared by lawyers. "The savings account, the car, everything. I've talked to an attorney, everything in her name." How had I been so stupid? All those years of trusting her to handle the paperwork while I focused on bringing home a paycheck. She'd been setting this up for God knows how long. "You've got 1 week to pack up and find somewhere else to live." 1 week after 40 years of marriage, I got 7 days to disappear from my own life. That evening, my son David showed up. He's 38 now. Works as operations manager at Harper Steel in Manufacturing, the same plant where I'd worked for 30 years before retiring 5 years ago. I'd helped get him that job, taught him everything I knew about running machinery and managing people, spent countless hours in the garage showing him how to fix things, how to work with his hands, how to earn respect through hard work and integrity. "Dad," he said, standing in the doorway like he wasn't sure he should come in. "Maybe Mom's right. Maybe this is for the best. For the best." My own son, standing in the living room of the house I built, telling me it was for the best that his mother was throwing me out for a man half her age. "You're not getting any younger, Dad. Maybe it's time you found a nice apartment somewhere, easier to manage. Easier to manage. Translation, somewhere out of the way so they didn't have to deal with the embarrassment of the old man who couldn't keep his wife happy. Somewhere small and quiet where I could fade away and stop being a reminder of what used to be." My daughter Jennifer came by later that same evening, tears streaming down her face. She's 40 now, works part-time as a nurse at the county hospital while raising her 2 kids. Always been the sensitive one, the peacekeeper in the family. She hugged me tight when she walked in and I could feel her shoulders shaking. "I'm sorry, Dad," she whispered. "I don't understand why Mom's doing this." At least one of my kids still had some sense left. We sat on the back porch, the same porch where I'd taught her to ride a bike, where we'd watched fireworks every 4th of July, where she'd cried on my shoulder when her first boyfriend broke her heart. "She says she's been unhappy for years," Jennifer said. "Says you two just grew apart. Grew apart. That's what 40 years of marriage gets reduced to when someone wants to justify walking away. Never mind the nights I stayed up when the kids had fever. Never mind working overtime to pay for Jennifer's nursing school or David's college. Never mind building this entire life together, board by board, year by year. Dad, where will you go?" That was the million-dollar question, wasn't it? At 65, with Sarah taking everything, I had about as many options as a man my age could expect, which is to say, not many. So there I was the next morning packing 40 years of my life into 2 suitcases and that old military duffel bag I'd kept in the closet. Most of my stuff, Sarah said, I couldn't take. Community property, she called it, even though I'd paid for every stick of furniture and every tool in the garage with my own sweat. The only things I really cared about were the photos of the kids growing up and a small metal box my father had given me before he died. Dad was Thomas Harper, a Korean War veteran who came home in 1953 and never talked much about what he'd seen over there. Tough as nails but fair. Worked his way up from the factory floor to supervisor through sheer determination and night school classes. He'd been the smartest man I ever knew, though he never made a big show of it. While other guys spent their paychecks at the bar, Dad studied business and economics. While they complained about the company, he figured out how it worked. He'd handed me that metal box on his deathbed 15 years ago. "Son," he'd said, his voice weak but his eyes still sharp, "there's a card in here. Don't use it unless you absolutely have to. But if things ever go completely sideways, it's there." I'd never opened that box. Dad had taught me to work for what I needed, not depend on handouts or shortcuts. But sitting there in my empty house, listening to Sarah and Jake laughing in the kitchen like they'd already moved in together, I figured things had definitely gone sideways. Inside the box was a plain silver card. No bank name, no account number visible on the front. Just my name engraved in small letters, Martin Thomas Harper. There was also a yellowed letter in Dad's careful handwriting. "Martin," it read, "if you're reading this, then you've hit rock bottom. I've been there, son. Korea taught me that life can change in a heartbeat. What matters is being prepared. This card represents 40 years of preparation. Use it wisely. Your father." I slipped the card into my wallet and finished packing. The next morning, Sarah handed me the divorce papers like she was passing me the salt at dinner. No emotion, no regret, just business. "Jake's going to help me redecorate," she said. "We're thinking of updating the kitchen first. Maybe knock out that wall to open things up." The wall I'd built. The kitchen I'd designed. They were going to tear it apart like none of it had ever mattered. They'd already become a we, and I hadn't even left yet. I loaded my stuff into my old pickup truck, a 1998 Ford F-150 that was the one thing she couldn't take because it was titled in my name from before we got married. Drove away from the only home I'd known as an adult, watching it shrink in my rear-view mirror until it disappeared behind the oak trees I'd planted as saplings 25 years ago. That first night, I slept in the truck at a rest stop outside town. Didn't want anyone I knew to see me like this. Second night, same thing. The bench seat wasn't made for a 65-year-old man with arthritis in his back, but pride kept me from calling Jennifer or asking for help. By the third night, I'd run out of money for gas and food. The divorce had cleaned out our joint checking account. Sarah's lawyer had been very thorough. I had exactly $23 in my wallet and maybe half a tank of gas left. So there I was, sitting on a park bench in downtown at 6 in the morning, watching the sun come up over the courthouse where Sarah had filed those papers. 65 years old, unemployed, homeless, with everything I'd worked for stripped away. I'd worked every day since I was 16, paid my taxes, served my community, raised my kids right, tried to be the kind of man my father would be proud of. And this is where it got me. That's when I remembered Dad's card. I sat there for another hour, turning it over in my hands. Dad always said handouts made men weak. that you had to earn everything worth having. But he'd also said this was for when things went completely sideways. Well, sleeping in your truck at 65 while your wife of 40 years plans her new life with a man young enough to be her son, I figured that qualified as completely sideways. The bank was one of those big downtown buildings, all marble and glass, and the kind of intimidating architecture designed to make working folks feel small. Made me feel exactly that way walking through those doors in my work clothes and steel-toed boots, carrying everything I owned in a duffel bag. The young teller looked at me like I might be lost. She had that polite but wary expression people use when they're not sure if they should call security or offer directions to the homeless shelter. "Can I help you, sir?" I pulled out the silver card Dad had left me. "I'd like to check the balance on this account." She took the card and turned it over several times, frowning. "This is unusual. I've never seen anything quite like this. Let me get a manager." The manager was a guy named Timothy Anderson. Gray hair, serious face, wearing a suit that probably cost more than I used to make in a month. He had the kind of presence that said he'd been handling other people's money for a long time and took it seriously. "Where did you get this, Mr. Harper?" he asked, examining the card under his desk lamp. "My father left it to me when he passed." Anderson nodded slowly, like he was processing something important. "Please, come with me to my office." We walked past the regular customer service area into the back where the real business got done. His office had thick carpet and leather chairs, and the kind of quiet that only comes with serious money. He gestured for me to sit, then slid the card into a machine on his desk. The computer screen lit up, and I watched Anderson's face change. First confusion, then surprise, then something that looked almost like awe. He leaned closer to the monitor, then sat back in his chair. "Mr. Harper," he said quietly, "I think you'd better brace yourself. What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong, sir. Quite the opposite." He turned the screen toward me. "Do you have any idea what this account contains?" The number on the screen didn't make sense at first. Too many zeros. I blinked hard and counted them again. 8247 $3,384.67, $8.2 million. "That can't be right," I said. "Your father was a very smart man, Mr. Harper." According to our records, he opened this account in 1954, right after he came back from Korea. He used his GI Bill benefits to study business and economics, then started making small strategic investments. Anderson pulled up more screens showing decades of careful financial moves. Stock purchases during market dips, real estate investments in growing areas, government bonds during high-interest periods. Every decision appeared calculated and patient. "But there's more," Anderson continued. "Your father didn't just accumulate cash, he also acquired assets. Significant assets. He opened another file, stock certificates, company shares, pages and pages of them, all bearing my father's name as the registered owner. Mr. Harper, according to these records, you now own 51% of Harper Steel and Manufacturing." The room started spinning. Harper Steel, where I'd worked for 30 years, where my son David worked, where Sarah did the books part-time. The company I thought belonged to some faceless corporation back east. That's impossible. The company's been around since the 1940s. Dad was just a worker there, like me. Your father started buying shares in the early 1980s when the company was struggling financially, Anderson explained. Small purchases at first, always through intermediaries and holding companies to keep his identity hidden. During the recession of 1982, when the company nearly went bankrupt, he bought large blocks of stock at pennies on the dollar. My father, the Korean War vet who came home and worked the factory floor for 30 years, who studied business at night while other men drank beer and watched TV, who never said a word about any of this, just kept showing up for work every day like he didn't secretly own the place. "There's one more thing," Anderson said. "Your father left specific instructions that if you ever used this card, we should play a recorded message for you." He pressed a button on his desk phone. Dad's voice filled the room, clear and strong like he was sitting right there with us. "Martin, if you're hearing this, then something's gone very wrong in your life. I always hoped you'd never need this, but I wanted to make sure you and your family were protected no matter what happened." My eyes burned. I hadn't heard Dad's voice in 15 years. "Son, I've watched you work your whole life. You're honest, you're fair, you treat people right. You're twice the man I ever was. But sometimes that's not enough in this world. Sometimes people will take advantage of your good nature, and sometimes the people closest to you will forget what you're worth." He paused, and I could picture him choosing his words carefully, the way he always did. "This money isn't just for you, Martin. It's for our family's future. It's protection against the kind of people who think they can take what doesn't belong to them, and that company, Harper Steel, that's our legacy. Your grandfather helped build that place from nothing. I made sure we'd never lose control of it. Another pause, longer this time. But more important than the money or the company, son, is remembering your worth isn't measured by what other people think of you. It's measured by what you do when nobody's watching, and what you do when everything falls apart. Use this wisely. Make me proud. And remember, sometimes the quietest man in the room is the most powerful. The recording ended. Anderson gave me a few minutes to collect myself while he prepared some paperwork. What happens now? I asked. Well, sir, that's entirely up to you. As majority shareholder of Harper Steel and Manufacturing, you have certain legal rights and responsibilities. The board of directors has been trying to contact the controlling shareholder for months about some concerning financial irregularities. My stomach dropped. What kind of irregularities? Anderson opened another folder. Unauthorized fund transfers. Money being moved to accounts that don't appear in the company's official records. The board suspects embezzlement, but they needed the owner's authorization to fully investigate. He slid some documents across the desk. Bank statements, transfer records, authorization forms. My hands shook as I looked through them, and then I saw something that made my blood run cold. There, on half the authorization forms, was a signature I'd seen thousands of times over 40 years of marriage. Sarah Harper. Jake Thompson's name appeared on several forms too. They'd been systematically stealing from the company I unknowingly owned, using Sarah's bookkeeping access to cover their tracks. The amounts were staggering, minus $1.8 million moved to offshore accounts over the past 18 months. We've already contacted federal authorities, Anderson said, but we needed the owner's authorization to proceed with a full investigation and asset recovery. I signed every document he put in front of me, every single one. I'd like to call a board meeting, I said. 3 days later, I walked into the Harper Steel conference room wearing the only decent suit I owned, the same one I'd worn to Dad's funeral 15 years ago. The board members were already seated around the mahogany table. Men I'd known for years but had never met in any official capacity. They looked confused to see me there. Gentlemen, Anderson announced, I'd like you to meet Martin Harper, majority shareholder of Harper Steel and Manufacturing. The silence was deafening. These were men who thought they knew me as Martin the retired supervisor, not Martin the guy who could fire them all with a phone call. David was there too, in his operations manager role. When he saw me, his face went through several shades of pale. Dad, what's going on? Your grandfather was smarter than any of us gave him credit for, son. William Carter, the head of the board, opened a thick folder. Mr. Harper, we've been investigating unauthorized financial transfers from company accounts. Your ex-wife had signing authority through her bookkeeping position. They laid out the evidence methodically. Bank transfers, forged authorizations, shell companies set up to hide the money trail. Sarah and Jake had been planning this for over a year, maybe longer. The divorce wasn't just about starting a new life, it was about covering up their theft. The FBI will make arrests once you give final authorization, Carter said. I looked around the table at these men who'd spent months trying to protect a company they thought belonged to distant investors. They'd been protecting my inheritance without even knowing it. Do it, I said. The arrests happened the next morning. FBI agents showed up at the house I'd built, the house that turned out to be owned by a trust Dad had established in my name decades ago. Sarah tried to run. Jake tried to lawyer up immediately. Neither strategy worked. The local newspaper ran the story on the front page. Local couple arrested for corporate embezzlement. Sarah's photo was right there for the entire town to see, being led away in handcuffs from the house she thought she'd stolen from me. David came to see me that evening at the hotel where I'd been staying. He looked like he'd aged 10 years in one day. Dad, I owe you more than an apology. I was a coward. You were protecting your mother. I understand that. No, I was taking the easy path. I should have stood up for what was right instead of what was convenient. We talked until midnight, really talked for the first time since he was a kid, about respect and responsibility, about what it means to be a man when everything around you falls apart, about the difference between being loyal to family and being blind to their faults. The investigation took 8 months. During that time, I took over as interim CEO of Harper Steel. First thing I did was implement profit sharing for all 850 employees. Second was establishing an employee pension fund that couldn't be touched by management. Third was hiring the best financial advisors in the state to make sure this company would still be here for my grandchildren. Sarah got 6 years in federal prison. Jake got 8 because he'd been the one actually moving the money. They tried to cut deals, pointing fingers at each other, but the paper trail was too clear. David earned his way back into my good graces through pure hard work. He spent 60-hour weeks learning every aspect of the business, proving he deserved his position based on merit, not just his last name. He's going to make a fine leader someday. Jennifer and I started having Sunday dinners at my new house, smaller than the old one but mine. Bought and paid for with nobody able to take it away. She told me she'd always thought Sarah was wrong but hadn't known how to say it. I told her sometimes the most supportive thing you can do is just be there when the dust settles. I keep Dad's picture on my desk at the office now. Korean War veteran, steel mill supervisor, secret businessman, and the wisest man I ever knew. He taught me that preparation isn't paranoia, it's love. He spent 40 years quietly building protection for his family, never asking for credit or recognition. Sarah writes me letters from prison sometimes. Says she's sorry, claims she made mistakes, asks if I'll visit. I write back occasionally short, polite letters. I tell her I hope she's learning from her time there, and I mean it. Carrying anger is like gripping a hot coal, hoping to throw it at someone else. It just burns you. These days, I get up every morning, make my coffee the way Dad taught me, and head to the office. I've got 850 families depending on good decisions. I've got a son learning what leadership really means. I've got a daughter who respects her old man again. Most importantly, I've got the knowledge that quiet preparation beats loud boasting every time. Dad never bragged about what he was building. He just built it, one careful decision at a time. The company's stronger now than it's ever been. The employees know they're working for someone who understands their lives because he lived it. The community respects what we're building here, and every month we're proving that American manufacturing can compete with anyone when it's run by people who care about more than just quarterly profits. So if you ever feel like life has knocked you down, remember this. Sometimes the moment you think you've lost everything is actually the moment you discover what you truly own. Sometimes the quietest person in the room holds all the cards, and sometimes, just sometimes, the good guys really do win in the end. But only if they're prepared when their moment comes. Make sure you're ready for yours.